The time of the French Revolution is one of great interest. It's described in Revelation chapter 11. In chapter 11 there's two time periods given. The first time period belongs to that of apostate Christianity. It came to its end during the time of Napoleon. By his power, the then Pope was placed in prison, and he died in prison, and his estate and authority was taken away from him. This had been the time of the Dark Ages, where millions had been killed and knowledge had been taken away from the people, and the Bible had been a restricted book, prohibited to the common person. This is the time of the Dark Ages, and the deadly wound was given, and that deadly wound is that time we just spoke of, where Napoleon, by general Bertha, places the Pope into prison. And another time period is mentioned here in the chapter. The time periods belong to the beasts that come out of the bottomless pit. There are three beasts that come out of the bottomless pit. Two of them have great description. In this one, in chapter 11, no description is given. It is without description, it is void. This is the power of atheism. And the two witnesses upon which it wages war in this chapter are the Old and New Testament, the Bible. In 1792, the church and its priests were driven from this country. In 1793, the Bible, by legislation, was a prohibited book again. This remained like this for 3.5 years, as the Bible had predicted. During this time, they took to themselves the goddess of reason. That goddess was an opera prostitute, and they paraded her through the streets as their god. And they changed the 7-day cycle, which denotes the Sabbath, to a 10-day working week, by which they could not function. They found that society could not function by a 10-day working week. And so this remained like this. This legislation remained in place for 3 years until it came back on the legislative table, but was not enacted for another 6 months. So according to the prophecy, after the 3.5 years, the witnesses that lay dead in the street now were brought back to life. They were allowed to speak. The Bible was no longer a prohibited book. But this beast which had come from the bottomless pit, it went to wage war, continue war, in communism, in atheistic ideas, in evolutionary ideas. It waged war against the world. This is one of the three engines of Satan that wages war and confusion and false teaching against the inhabitants of the world.